Excitement. Feel the heat with Starset.
This is still Pan-African Morning News right here on Galaxy Universal Network. And of course, we are on channel 500 on Starset. And yes, this morning, as we promised you earlier on, we are having a guest, a mentor, a business person, a speaker, you can name it all. I think Susanna must rather introduce, Dr. Toni Lack, but I call her Mama T, because she's my Mama T. But welcome, Mama T. Susanna, please introduce Mama T
for sure. Thank you so much for joining us. If you've just joined us, we welcome you. We're still right here on Pan-African Morning. We are now joined by Dr. Toni Lack, a world-renowned Hillbrow biblical scholar, a pastor as well, and an African transformation specialist. She's also has been a radio personality, a voice of wisdom on massive Metro. This is the radio station that is owned by, of course, DJ Sbu. And also she's been a very frequent Drake Talk guest in there back in 2008 to 2012, and she also had the late debates and Genesis on one of the Gospels talk show, Motswako. She's a very great personality and as well as an author of 17 books. Imagine, who has spent almost 4 decades sharing the transformation, or rather sharing and transforming the power of love and peace across the world, especially in Africa. Her passion for creating sustainable and changing environment for the full and also equitable development of Africa and her people is what drives and inspires her the most, and of course tireless efforts on behalf of the most vulnerable. Dr. Lack is a mentor to so many persons in the field of historical biblical education and praises historic and well-known wellness and healing and also business development. She has also served as an advisor of the head of state in Africa and the champions of business and industry. Dr. Lack also shares an amazing and specializing in 21-year-old friendship with Mama Winnie Mandela. As you can see her cup right there, it is actually having her face and also the face of the late icon Mama Winnie Mandela, and as also a close friend to Whitney's Houston spiritual mom, who's she baptized in Jordan River in the Holy Land. Whenever Dr. Lack's presence has been encountered, transformation takes place and love and light radiates. This is one amazing woman. What a introduction. Thank you so much, Mom, for praising us with your presence. And of course, we must say that we're quite very honored that you honored our invitation on a very, very short notice, because we couldn't wait. We watched your videos and we were like, wow, we want this one on our show as soon as possible. It cannot wait. Thank you for joining us today this morning, Dr. Lack.
And thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you, daughter. This is my daughter for many years.
Yes.
But I first of all want to thank you, and I'm very proud of the station and the continued ability for us to have our own content. It is very important. And so I say good morning to all your viewers and people across the world and across Africa. Congratulations. How old is the station? Because I'm in some
the station is actually 1 month old.
No. So I'm here. Oh, congratulations. And look at the courage that you have to do it in the midst of what people say things can't be done. So thank you so much for including me in this new venture. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much, Doc, for joining us.
Mama T, Dr. Toni Lack, right? But can I call you Mama T?
You better.
All right. Earlier on, during the break, I think I was giving you a hug, and then you mentioned that. Then I said to you, oh, okay, I shouldn't give you my COVID, and then you're like, no, I don't have COVID, there's no such thing, that you can catch it, through hugs. Can you take us through that? Our country right now is, we're being faced with, this pandemic, COVID-19, and people are not protecting themselves. So why would you say that we cannot catch COVID through hugs? Can you take us through to your knowledge of COVID-19?
All right, let me say a couple of things. COVID is real, but so is the flu, and so is HIV, and for me, I think that there's a deeper problem that we're facing. And I did some work for you guys this morning because I wanted to give numbers. you can catch a cold from a friend. You can catch a cold from your kids. You can catch measles. It doesn't make us. It doesn't make us a tragedy. Do you understand what I'm saying? We've made this a tragedy. We've made saying COVID-19 as if it's automatically a death warrant. Now, we've been in places where, like with HIV, we knew for many, many years without any care, it was a death sentence, you know. There was a time when polio was a death sentence. And I don't mean to minimize the fact that COVID is a disease. It can pass from person to person, but people have to also be symptomatic to have it. I mean, if I don't have it, I can't give it to you. And you remember, I don't like us saying my cancer or my cold or my COVID. I'm not claiming anything to myself. So what I'm saying and what I've been saying since January, and of course there's so much controversy, so much information, but when I first heard the symptoms out of China, because I've had malaria twice, and I kept saying it's malaria with a cold. And that the symptoms are literally malaria with a cold. About 2 weeks ago, however, the CDC issued the symptoms of flu and the symptoms of COVID. They're identical, the CDC. Okay. I've been saying they're identical to certain diseases and maladies, but the CDC itself issued the symptoms of cold, flu, influenza, and the symptoms of COVID. They're identical. So what makes this different? And what I've been trying to deal with, which is how you came to me yesterday, which we'll talk about, is the panic and the fear. The virus is fear. The virus that we are suffering worldwide is fear. For example, in this country, we have 3,600 deaths. Every death is important. It's somebody's mother, father, son, daughter, family. So we do not minimize. Even one death is one too many. But if I'm not mistaken, we're approaching 65,000 deaths in this country since January from HIV, TB, Hep C, since January. Almost 60,000 deaths. We didn't close the country when people were ravaging from HIV. We didn't close the country with that. We didn't close the country when Ebola was here. You know, there's something behind that. And so I've just been asking people to think about what are all the implications. Because closing an economy is very devastating in a continent where 65% of our people make their money every day. You understand? We have daily income.
Yeah.
So if you take me out of my daily income for 101 days, I'm done.
Yeah. Even for that one day.
Just one day.
Yeah.
So now we're over 100 days where people who make their money every day to feed their family every day, 20 Rand, 50 Rand, 100 Rand, 200 Rand.
Exactly.
We don't have a worldview in Africa, South Africa, all over, where you can stock up your refrigerator. How do you stock up a refrigerator you don't have in a settlement that doesn't have electricity?
Yeah, maybe Doc, while we're still there, I would be more interested in finding out that what if these plans that the government has put through, you know, to do a lockdown and whatsoever is to prevent the further spread, because we are saying, okay, already we have lost, let me say, 55,000 people that are dying on other unrelated issues to COVID-19. Yes. So do we have to now just let it go and say, anyway, other people that are dying now, there's this new disease, let's just let it be, let them be exposed further to these other diseases? Because in my understanding, the government is literally just trying to make sure that we don't have extra or another problem that is coming.
No, I agree. I
add.
agree with the government. I'm not disagreeing. I just think that we should have had more conversation. I mean, I agree that we should have been conscious, but you can be standing next to someone with TB, which is also highly contagious. Do you understand what I'm saying? There are contagious diseases. For example, this morning I took this off the World Meter, which you might want to check. This morning,
Yes, if we can
as
have
of
that.
the world meter today, 6,802,176,000 people have died worldwide from what they're calling communicable diseases. This off of the world meter. We had 6.8 million deaths from communicable diseases. HIV, TB, Hep C. Deaths. It doesn't include deaths from cancer. What I'm saying is, yes, we took good precautions. Africa is wonderful because up as of June, the end of June, in Africa we had less than 400,000. And so thank God that happened, because the way in which this has been politically so, not from our country, in the world, they would have shut down Africa and dropped a bomb on us if we had been the epicenter. So we give all praises to God that we were not the epicenter. And in truth and in fact, the two countries that have the most is Egypt and South Africa, because we're portals. So many people come here. But you have a country like Malawi, they had 17 deaths and less than 2,000 cases. Why? Because they treat the chloroquine and zinc. Why? Because they're used to dealing with malaria. Why? Are like malaria. So I'm not saying we should not have taken precautions. We're an international continent. People are coming and going. But it did not originate here, number one. I think there's no doubt now that it's a man-made problem. This did not occur in a natural way. And so, yes, we need to be cautious about who is doing what and why. And I don't think the government should have not taken the precautions they have. I would never say that. But in taking them, we must take them understanding. When they closed down Wuhan, have you ever seen Wuhan? Wuhan is a first world, first class city. They could close down. Everybody's in their house, they have refrigerators, they have electricity. There's no slums in Wuhan that I'm aware of.
Yeah. So what do you think we could have, or maybe the government could have done better? Because I understand totally where you're coming from, and your points make a whole lot of sense, but I'm trying to find, a balance as to what is it that government would have done to obviously prevent the spread of COVID-19, obviously looking at the situation that the country obviously doesn't have, the facilities to, that we don't even have money to, because, some of these countries, they say stay at home. China was making available food every 24 hours, 7 days a week. People just come and collect food in different places. They didn't have to go to work, and they were all well sustained, but we were not able to do that until today. People are still struggling to get the mere
But they're not
food
struggling.
parcel.
But darling, they're not struggling because we don't have money. We need to stop telling that lie. We got 500 billion rand into this country for this particular problem. 500 billion rand. It's about $35 billion. At 500 billion rand, at 60 million people, we could have given everybody 9,000 rand. That's first. That's number one. Number two, there have been enough African, I just wrote an article, and I think I would change it a little bit about saying it's the best things happened to Africa. This was worldwide, so the normal people who come to save us, not saving us, we are who we're waiting for. So in the waiting, there have been at least 40 various medications, protocols, models for health created by Africans. So let's say that. We have stepped up, whether it's Madagascar, whether it's here. The same herb in Madagascar is also here.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, Malawi, they're using what they use for malaria. Okay, so imagine a political will that first stated that we made sure that no one got it. Like the wonderful thing yesterday is Minister Nkosazana Zuma said, the government's position is to ensure people don't get it, and people who get it are taken care of. It is not to have 1 million deaths. She tweeted that out yesterday, which was wonderful. So where are the people talking about prevention? Now, imagine we cannot social distance in the settlements. How come we don't have 20 million cases? No one is asking. We don't, there's no social distancing in Africa. Do you understand? Social distancing is for rich people, moderately middle class people. But most of our people are living in a place with 8 people, 7 people, 6 people. They're not washing their hands all day. Guess what? They don't have no water. They're not sanitizing all day with what? They're not social distancing. And yet our numbers are very still comparative in the world where people can social distance. Japan, America, Canada, France, Germany. Look at the numbers.
Well, on that stance, Mama T, I just want to find out, where do you stand, or rather about this vaccine that is being funded by Bill Gates?
Please don't ask me that.
We want to ask you that. What do you think?
Because obviously, this vaccine is here, they're bringing it to Africa. And I'm also thinking, because you're talking about social distancing, especially in our underprivileged,
yes.
places. Yeah. So
yes.
with that, with this vaccine coming here, especially being tested on African people, or on black people, rather, let me put it that way. What is your stance?
How is that? Darling, my stance is I need a, oh God, please don't put me in jail. I need a Uzi.
I made you take off your earring.
My earring, sweetheart, Mama T, I don't even know what to say that won't get me into a lot of trouble, because everything I could say probably would sound like a threat. So I'm trying to be very careful about what I want to say. All right, so you have, so we in Africa have come up with a number of publicly said remedies for prevention.
Yes.
We already know that. We have that information.
Yes.
We have also come up with a number of protocols for fixing it when you get it.
Yes.
And all of this is public. None of this is secret.
Yeah.
People are talking, people are sharing. You know how I feel about being BBC, born before computers, but in this case I'm happy about social media most times, because now we can tell each other and share and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there are a group of white people who have decided, the hell with you. We don't care that you black people have figured out your own problem. We still gonna come, and the nerve, I'm just saying, the hubris. We are saying that we have remedies, we have protocols, we have modalities, we have medical doctors, we have scientists, we have experts, and we in Africa, because we live here with the weather, with the sun, with the temperature, and we have found these protocols that can be useful. We have found these other protocols that can make sure it doesn't happen. But you, with your white supremacy hubris, decide, we don't care about that. That's the first problem. The nerve of anyone deciding that we cannot figure out, with all the things that have kept us alive. Now, by the way, white supremacy has done everything it can to kill us. Let's talk with that. So they have killed hundreds of millions of us, and guess what? We're still almost 2 billion. So they need to stop, because that plan ain't working. So all the blood that they have poured into the ground of our ancestors is growing more people. So all their population ideas, they need to cut it out, because it ain't working, because we're growing.
But unfortunately, it's been supported by our government.
Now that's another problem. I'm going to get to that. Okay, so remember though, democracy is an interesting thing that has 2 edges. It's for the people, by the people. Now, if you have a totalitarian regime, nobody's asking the people. China closed down and finished. Russia closed down and finished. But if you purport to be in a democracy, and you purport to be in equity and justice, then let's go to how that works. For the people, by the people. So no one can ever tell me the government, because we are
the government.
The people.
Yeah.
You understand? So if you don't want to be involved as the people, go live somewhere where there's a totalitarian government. They'll tell you when to stand, when to sit, where to sleep, where to talk, where to go. But if you choose democracy, where people like Mama Winnie died, bled for us to have freedom, and we know there's still problems, lots of problems, but there are countries that are 1,000 years old and they ain't way ahead of us, so we done okay. Yes, there's more to do, but you can't take a people who never ran stuff and just throw them into the deep end of the pool when you broke stuff. You know, you have to remember 1987, white people started breaking stuff here. So by the time we got it, everything's broken. They didn't do any maintenance on Transnet, on ESCOM, so we act like, but in spite of that, there still is a tenacity and a fight in black people that still keeps surviving. So, all over the continent, young people have said no to the vaccine. I'm not taking it.
Yeah.
I'm not taking it. You can't make me. And of course, you know, the so-called, they're not a majority, they're a minority, the so-called pink people have written in books and papers, there are laws that tell you you don't have to take stuff. You know, they think they can hide stuff because, you know, they think we don't read, but, you know, people have we get PhDs and stuff, so we can read. So there are many laws on the books that tell you, you don't have to take nothing. You can't make me. In a democratic environment, which we are saying we have, you can't make me. So that's what people have to say, you can't make me take this. Now let me tell you the interesting, amazing stupidity of it. You have locked me down for 4 or 5 months in my house, not to get COVID, but now you're gonna give me a vaccine that's COVID. Wait, let me tell you what the vaccine is. You know the vaccine is the thing. Let's understand vaccines. It's not medicine. It's not medicine. Vaccines are the thing that you're trying to cure so that your own body can have antibodies. Okay?
So this means that they obviously put you the virus itself.
They give you the, yes. When you, with polio vaccine was polio spurs. All the vaccines are the thing. So let's first tell people that. So the vaccine is not a protocol or a modality of healing. The thing is to give you the thing so that your own body cells can get acclimated to fight the thing. So now you done kept me in my house for months not to get the thing, and then you're going to bring the thing into my house and give it to me.
Yeah, maybe before we can go, because we have run out of time, and I think that we're going to have to bring you for more than this, because there's a whole lot. I mean, I've heard you earlier talking and actually praising Malawi in a way that they have responded. But actually, the actual things that are happening currently on the ground in Malawi are totally different from that, because initially, the former president, Professor Mutharika, did bring up, you know, the issue of COVID-19 and said people need to do the lockdown and whatsoever. But you know, of course, the opposition parties, they said no, he was trying to run away from the elections, and that's why the re-elections. That's why he brought that thing up. And subsequently, they obviously the court declared that you know, the lockdown were not legal, and therefore it was struck out. So the people went back to normal. But right now, as we speak, things are getting bad. A lot of people are passing, are dying. A lot of people are found to have contracted the virus, you know, in all these big gatherings and that they were doing prior to the elections. And are we looking to a direction where Malawi can actually now become the Brazil of Africa?
No, it won't. I can't speak for them. I mean, former President Joyce Bond is one of my sisters, and no, I don't think that's the case. Because again, time is running out, so it's so much to talk about, but COVID-19 is not a death sentence. People get colds, people get flu, people get sick. People, part of living is dying. I lost my son-in-law to this disease. He's a doctor in New York. Both my daughter and son worked till the last second. But he didn't die from COVID. He died from the treatment. They gave him the wrong treatment. They put him on a ventilator. The COVID touches it's a thrombosis kind of disease. You don't need a ventilator. So now there's a lot of medical procedures. I'm a holistic doctor. I'm not a physician like that, but I know enough. I read enough. I use enough herbs. I told people how to live and be healthy and well. I should take myself so I can lose some weight. But the point, the point, you know, it's like the cobbler's kids have no shoes, right? But the point is. Let me go back to my last statement, so because I know we're out of time.
Yeah.
The virus is fear. The virus is fear. It is not the bubonic plague. By now, if it was the bubonic plague, we would have had 30 million deaths. Look at the history, 1820, 1920, 1720, where these were way bigger. So I'm not saying it's not something to be thoughtful of. Wear your mask, social distance if you can, but I'm saying if we look at the landscape of Africa and the numbers and the fact that we are not so able to social distance, I'm just asking you, shouldn't our numbers be different?
No, they should be.
Shouldn't our cases be different? And certainly it's not a rocket science. If you take more tests, you're going to find more cases. You understand? If you test more, you're going to find more. But in the scheme of 1.2 billion people, of which we can say maybe 1 billion are not social distancing, shouldn't we have different numbers? So all I'm saying is we just need to be wise. We need to be careful. We need to be thoughtful. We need to wear our masks. We need to, if we can, social distance. If we can, drink lots of water. But what do we do to those communities that have no electricity, that have no water, but they're not getting it?
Yeah. Well, you have said a mouthful, Doc, and I must say that we have actually ran out of time, unfortunately. But I'm definitely going to bring you back to the studio because I can see that
Mama
our
Tim is
viewers.
an hour of an interview.
No,
like,
1 hour won't be enough. 1 hour won't be enough, Mama Tim. We have to fix segments that we do this 1 hour today, another hour the other day. Yeah. Because, I mean, this type of topics, this is not what you're only discussing about. There are a whole lot of things. I mean, we're looking at the issues of marriage. We're looking at issues. So there's so many things that I still would love you to come back to our studio to talk about. But we thank you so much for your time as we're taking a very short break. When we're coming back, we've got Baba Madumile Mateza with sport right here on PN African Morning. Stay with us.